Hello, everyone. You are here with Keddy Stevens and Caitlin Vincent. This is a podcast on the state of the world right now. And we just wanted to let everybody into our minds and see where we can go with this for a little while. I feel like people are connecting a lot less in the physical plane. So what I've observed is that when I see people just walking around outside, where people were a lot more friendly, even here in UK, people are a lot colder around other people. It's like I feel like everyone's just walking around with their heads down and their masks on. It's so impersonal. As if like people aren't interacting with people at this stage. I understand, when we're with, when we meet people and we see people that we don't actually know, of course, it's always a bit uncomfortable. People are a little bit awkward, but I'm getting a different vibe, from people in general. And yeah, it's different. How about yourself? What was your take on that?
Well, on that, just sort of passing people by, what came up for me when you were saying that was like how differently we are now able to like read each other, right? So like everyone's covering half of their face, right? And so now we get to read each other's joy or whatever, and I think that's kind of an interesting new take on how we read each other, and body language and stuff. So I think it's kind of this evolving space that we're in, right? Because it keeps like I said, okay, so a year ago, I mean, none of this was even fathomable, and now we just sort of keep going back and forth between these different ways of being and relating, and that's really unsettling, right? And so that might be what's happening now, where what you're picking up on, right, is that people are like just so avoidant and just sticking to their lane, as opposed to being more open. And I think it's such a curious thing, because it's sort of, to me, it's all of these different aspects, it's the uncertainty around, okay, we're in lockdown, we're not in lockdown, everything's fine, we're getting better, no, like everyone's dying, like blah blah blah, like there's so much like back and forth, and so I think that definitely plays a part in what's going on with how we relate, on that level of what you're talking about, how we interact and relate, and then there's the actual the fear of getting COVID and sort of creating that physical space between us, and how does that get interpreted by our bodies and by our minds, so like, oh, I need to stay away from you, oh, that means I can't even look at you, like, hang on, of course you can look at me, of course you can smile, of course we can have a conversation,
100%.
But it's that sort of interpretation that that gets sort of snowballed, if you will,
Yeah, I agree. That's a really interesting point. I never saw it like that before, but I agree, and that's the impression that I get from seeing the way that people interact. It's as though they feel that they can't even interact with other people, that they can't even smile at people or even look at people. And it's fascinating to see as well how much you can actually tell from a person from just seeing a small portion of their face. You know, it's, you know, our eyes are really telling. And then, you know, there's everything else that's going on around here. And it's really fascinating. I do think it's strange because I feel as though people are, in a sense, distancing themselves from other people, but with that, they're connecting with themselves more because for the first time, pretty much ever, so many people are having to take a break, kind of spend a lot more time with themselves, even when working at home, for example. A lot of people, they commute every day, and being in a place where they're waking up by themselves, going to work or sitting down at a desk by themselves, I'm sure it's a very hard time for a lot of people with that alone. But I think that calls for a higher state of consciousness naturally. I really believe that when you do spend a lot of time by yourself, you grow because you connect with yourself more as well. I think it's definitely multifaceted. We need to grow by ourselves and grow with other people as well. But that's an aspect that I feel like a lot of people are getting in touch with a lot more. And I haven't seen the lives of everyone, but I feel as though that would be for the best. It allows us to make the big decisions, and it allows us to question what has been going on up until now, you know?
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when we take away, like for instance, when we're fasting, right? So we take away the time that we use usually to make food, you know? And so now we're taking away so many different, like you said, commuting and, you know, socializing, going to get groceries. Like, okay, we still need to do that, but we're not like, we're more conscious of making those decisions as well, making those movements, as well as then what you're touching on about spending time with the self, right? And being able to explore what's really going on with ourselves, and having the time and the space for that, right? Because our homes hopefully and generally are our safe spaces, you know. And you know, more and more people are going, you know, doing a lot of spiritual development during this time and personal development during this time. I think it's fantastic, you know, to take the opportunity to do that. It's really really fantastic. And there's you know there's like I acknowledge that it is difficult for many people as well, you know, like to be confronted with this time and like, oh, I need to like, you know, a lot of scary things come up, right? Just like they do for us during like meditation and during our spiritual practices, you know, we face very difficult things like that come up from within ourselves, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah, and the thing is, life was never supposed to just be easy anyway. It's full of ups and downs, and some of the most important things only really come at the end of challenge. And it was so abrupt, wasn't it?
Right.
You know, but again, that's the thing about life. We we don't necessarily get to choose everything that happens. Maybe it was something that we were supposed to go through, you know, and maybe it was a shift that needed to happen. Who knows? But even aside from COVID, though, I was kind of interested in seeing, COVID aside, let's go back a year, for example. What did you, what would you say about the state of the world in 2019, for example?
I mean, looking back now, I'm like, oh, it's so normal. Like, there was nothing wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Personally, like, I was doing a bunch of development, you know, personal development and lots of changes going on in my life, you know? But I definitely could not speak on like or what I could speak on a global scale. Like, to me, it just says like normal, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Compared to now, yeah, normal. But
Okay, but you did say COVID aside.
Yeah, COVID aside, I feel like we were moving towards a shift of more consciousness. I feel like people are being a lot more inclusive. People are putting themselves in other people's shoes a lot more, which I think is amazing. But of course, then I feel people are becoming a lot more superficial as well, and people are becoming. I feel like there's so much information in front of us that it's harder for us to look inwards right now, or 2019. I feel like there's so much coming out externally that it's harder for us to delve inwards, and naturally the state of the world is in a place where we are just looking at things and seeing what's going on more so than we are feeling, more so than we are thinking and reflecting, which then, you know, leads us onto now, where people are reflecting a lot more. It's a huge shift. It's a huge shift. You know?
Yeah, amen. Like, absolutely, you know, being forced out of that mentality that we were sucked into, that we are, like, still obviously there's a lot of screen time right now, and so that life is pretty easy as well. Or it's one of the options, I should say. It's not an easy, doesn't make things easy, but it's a way of dealing with life, right? Yeah. When we are living vicariously through these other platforms, through this virtual world, you know, instead of living our own lives, you know. And it's almost like we're becoming less of ourselves when we do that, right? Because we lose interest in our own interests. We lose interest in exploring ourselves and asking questions. What do I like? You know, like, it's this thing for me, you know, things like that. And instead we're on this virtual plane, and we're just accepting and eating up all the juicy greatness that is on the virtual planes, you know. And so that's really, so we have this, like, I've just gone visual on it, so it's like virtual plane, you know, reality, and then we have like in my existence is the universe, you know, and the earth, right? So there's these different planes that, and you know, however you connect or don't connect to those, they're there and they exist, you know. And so, and you know, I guess when we get sucked into one, then all the others disappear. And in the modern world, we really want to be connected with all these things, right? With the universe, with ourselves, with virtual, somewhat, and then with the earth. That's maybe me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's all about balance. I think it's all about balance. When you spend too much time doing one thing, you tend to neglect the other. It's so important to have balance, and they mesh together so well. It's like a dance between the two. It's like yin and yang, you know. Duality. I think it's important. It's very important. You can easily, probably not easily, but you could go off and just focus on yourself, and think about no one else. Take yourself right out of the whole virtual plane, but then you're only serving yourself at that point. And if everyone did that, then how would we be able to grow as a society? How would we be able to grow together? We would stay stagnant. But then if you don't think about, if you don't look into yourself and you're only just in the virtual plane, then you're just going through the motions, and it's just so autonomous, you know. So yeah, there's definitely a need for balance. I 100% agree with you on that. 100% agree with you on that. I feel as though with all of the new things that we've got in society, where we've got, you know, technology, and everyone's got, you know, somewhere. Well, a lot of people have somewhere to stay. I feel like as a whole, the world is coming to a place of comfort, and people are becoming a lot more comfortable than they once were. But with that extra comfort, where is just because we're comfortable doesn't necessarily make us so happy. We're at a stage where so many millennials are going through a lot more anxiety than we once knew, a lot more depression than we once knew, and yet the comfort that we're having is so much more, you know. I think that's interesting, and I feel like that's all we're striving towards. We're striving towards comfort, but we're not really. We're striving towards comfort, and we as a people are becoming more depressed and anxious. You know, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a fascinating perspective, because we have all this cushiness around us, but yet we're still not. And oh my gosh, we are very broad spectrum, like generalizing here as well. So no statistics or anything, but no, like, yeah, it is interesting in that when we have all the cushiness around us, like that's actually the biggest opportunity to be able to flourish in these other areas, right? And to create community, and to look within ourselves, and to get spiritual, you know. We have the foundation for that in this sense of comfort, right? yet it's like we're not taking the opportunity to work on ourselves, or to, you know, raise the general like consciousness. And yeah, so it's an interesting perspective for sure. And
What do you think? Oh, go on.
no, I guess I just wonder, like, you know, if what we've touched on earlier is like, you know, this time now, where we're seeing a shift in that kind of dynamic as well, you know, having this extra time to do the work, you know.
Yeah, and maybe that is the balance that that was called for. Maybe that's the balance that a lot of people needed, to take a breather, you know,
Yeah.
and just to wait and say, okay, what's actually going on? Where am I?
Right,
You know, what am I doing?
exactly. I think,
You know?
yeah, to me, it's like the universe, no matter what, you know, there's like conspiracy theories around, you know, COVID and all the setting all that aside, like, to me, I have a view that it is a gift, you know, that the universe has given us, or that the earth has given us, or whatever your sort of, wherever you want to place that. We've received a gift,
Yeah.
right? And it's how we use it as to whether we benefit from this or we don't, you know.
Yeah.
And like any gift, you know, if
That's
you're
right.
given a car for your birthday, you know, like, and you just leave it in the driveway and you never drive it, well, I mean, that's A, it's your choice.
Yeah.
And B, like, the car's gonna like just rot, you know?
Yeah.
If you leave it there for like 30 years, well, like,
Mm.
it's gonna be like, you know, whatever. So, but you could get in the car and you can drive it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, that's right. Every gift is just an opportunity, isn't it?
oh
Like,
my gosh, yes. Every gift is an
yeah,
opportunity.
it's just an opportunity, and it is, you know, whatever you decide to do with it, that's what it is. That's what it becomes, you know.
Yeah, it's your own reality, isn't it?
Mm. Mm.
It's how you view it. It's how you take the gift, or even if you even see it as a gift, you know, that's your perspective, your prerogative, and your choice.
That's right. That's right. No, I agree. And I agree.
Excuse me.
And bless you. And I feel that it's true with everything, just as you said, including the situation that many of us are in right now. Regardless of the situation, we decide how we're going to take it, whether it's going to be our downfall or whether this is going to be our starting point to success. You know, we do decide, and yeah, I think that's wonderful and magnificent, because it just means that we always have an opportunity to push forward and to go on and to be better than we once were, always.
I love
Which
that.
is
Oh my God,
amazing.
amazing. Yeah, so cool. So cool.
Yeah,
On that note,
it
Kenny,
really
I
is.
think we're up to time here.
Okay.
So,
Well, look,
yeah, thank you for your wisdom and sharing your
thank you for
mind with
yours.
us.
Thank you for yours as well. Thank you for your insights.
Mm.
That was really good. I had a lot of fun doing that. Looking forward to the next time.
Awesome. What do we say? Like, share, and comment.
Yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe,
Subscribe. There we
whatever you
go.
want to do. Whatever you
Take
want to do. But
action,
look, thank you so much. Take action, exactly. But to everyone, thank you so much for watching. And as always, peace, love, and blessings, and take care.